That looks promising. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we got a little project we're gonna try getting done that's been on the to-do list for 2 weeks now. But with Hurricane Ida pushing up this way, I'm gonna get on it now rather than later. It ain't supposed to rain too terribly much, but as soon as I don't get this lid welded up, it'll sit in here and rain like 6 inches, and then we'll have water backing into the field. So yeah, we're back down here where this beaver dam ditch comes out, and you hadn't seen the lid the last time. The bottom's been welded before and now it's falling off. So we've got the welder, and we're gonna take the grinder down here, clean this lid up a little bit, and weld that piece of patch back on the bottom of it for today. So otherwise, things are starting to kick off a little bit around this area. A few guys have started shelling. The bigger guys have definitely started shelling. I think it probably was a little wet last week, but I'd say this week people will start getting a little more fired up to go. But I mean, the corn's still pretty green, and we've had, at the farm there we had like over 2 inches of rain Friday night and Saturday, and it rained again this morning a little bit, and you can see up there it's raining over that direction now, and there's supposed to be more coming, so I don't know how much it's going to rain in total. But sometimes hurricanes blow up here, or they can spin out a lot of rain before they get out of the area. So that's why we're doing what we're doing today, and we're going to get to it because I can hear the thunder rumbling. So like I said, this is the door on this tank car that's put in the bank. You can see the bottom's been rotted out before, and we welded a piece of metal on it so it's sealed again. And now that piece of metal's rusted off on that side almost all the way across, so I'm going to weld it back on before it falls completely off, and that turns into a whole nother chore. But first I got to figure out how I'm going to get this door propped open wide enough so that I can get in and out of there. Well, 2 before ought to do, as long as I don't kick it out of there. Now we've got to grind this a little bit, knock some of the rust off of it so that I can weld it back on. It also keeps that pushed against there, which is handy. So we're gonna get to grinding, and then we'll go fire the welder up. All right, well, we got it kind of ground down enough that there's a little bit of shiny. I know it looks pretty rough, but it ain't the space shuttle, so it'll be good enough as long as we get it halfway welded back on there. Hopefully this gets replaced sometime in the near future. But until then, I guess we'll go fire the welder up and start welding on her. Another one of my concerns was this mess of sticks and old beaver dam that's washed into this. I'm afraid that if it does rain and start washing this out, it'll go ahead and catch this door too and rip it off. So many reasons, and you don't want water going backwards. But I'm gonna fight my way back through the snakes and the spiders to the truck. I said spiders. Look at that dude. He's like the size of half my hand. I know the camera don't do him justice, but I don't like spiders. Okay, so I don't know if you can tell by those welds, but this stuff is like paper thin now. It must have not been too thick before, but what I'm gonna do is take some of these off the combine. I'm gonna weld them in here to help hold this lid up. Hopefully that'll hold it temporarily enough until this actually gets fixed proper. I think if I weld enough of these in there, it ought to work. This piece of metal's still good, and this is still pretty solid. we'll see how it goes. Well, I think that ought to work for the most part. Definitely better than it was. Might weld a few more pieces in here before we call it good. But there's 3. Well, it's hot down here, but I'm done with what I'm gonna do. Welded a few on the front here, kind of that lid, help support it. Should anything break loose, not that it's gonna do much, but welded a few more in there. It's at least supported now, and maybe it'll work for a little while longer. Essentially, for anybody that is unaware, most of our bottom's ground's protected by levees and whatnot. So that's what these lids do, is essentially they drain a smaller tributary or creek or whatever you want to call it into the bigger ditches. And the idea behind the lid is obviously to keep all the water in the big ditch from going up into your smaller ditches inside your levees. And that's why it's important that they seal off. Otherwise, even though your field may not be underwater, it could rain up the road, fill this ditch, and that water back into your field through the culvert. So anyhow, that's gonna be it for this little project. We're gonna head back up the shed, cool off a little bit. Well, we got the pipe welded and whatnot today, and came back to the shed and didn't video anything there. We just finished buttoning up my combine and finished replacing the fan bearings on Michael's. They dropped the radiator off here just a while ago. I've got a tractor that the radiator was leaking on. Probably get it put together tomorrow and get the 3rd combine pulled in the shed and put the injector in it, go across the valves, and then we'll really start getting into doing some combine maintenance other than engines. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.